Good afternoon, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about. So it is Wednesday, 2:15 p.m. Eastern, May 10th. And we've got some volatility in Bitcoin and news related. Still trying to work out what is going on here. And we had the market dump. And this is the second time this has happened. If we go back and look a couple days ago, we had the market dump on a false alarm for government coins moving. And we dumped from 29,000 to 27.2. And then it came out, nope, false alarm, and we bounced the whole thing back. Now it's happening again. But this time, if you look at the address here, there was movement. So we do have $269 million of Bitcoin moving out of this wallet. That said, you've got people like Will Clemente saying that the Glassnode is not showing any decline in the government's balance. So essentially, what I'm looking at is we've got an alert that coins moved, but they're not being sold yet. But that's the market response to, uh-oh, these coins might be sold into the market, which obviously would increase supply and lead to a drop in price. So we're going to have to continue monitoring to see what happens, because obviously the market is currently very sensitive to movement of these coins. It's really just a question of when are they going to be sold? And once they are sold, and once it's confirmed they are all sold, that's a potential bullish catalyst. But who knows what the impact on price will be when they are sold. So that's pretty much the summary of what's going on right now. And we did see a bounce here of pretty good bounce of 50% retracement. Let's go to the 5-minute of Bitcoin. We've got from where we came from. Nope, we want Bitcoin. From where we came from, we had a bounce retracement here of 50%. So that does create the space to try and form an equilibrium as a result of this volatility. In the live stream on Monday, one of the themes and one thing that I continued to talk about was the analogy of this is the bears punching the bulls in the face. It's a surprise attack. And the price dumps and we cascade and stop losses are triggered and long liquidations take place. And then once you reach the bottom of that fast, hard move, that's essentially the bears sucker punching the bulls. The dump happens. The bulls say, all right, they get their wits about them. You want to fight. And now the bulls are ready to fight. And this is the response to the actual battle now that bulls are ready to fight. And so if we had dropped to a lower low, and we still may, that's then the bears continuing to win. So the bears get a sucker punch in, and then they keep winning once the bulls are ready to fight. If we V-shape, it is the bears getting the sucker punch, the bulls get ready to fight, and then the bulls are able to overcome the bears. All right, you got a nice cheap shot in, but now that we're ready to throw down, we are going to beat you up. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm anticipating, I'm on the 15-minute time frame right now for clarity. And we're going to look for a 15-minute lower high to be the result of this bounce. And then we're going to look for a 15-minute higher low and a tightening range. And how that tightening range breaks is going to give us good short-term information. So looking at the daily chart, let's look at the longer term time frames. So you know I love EMA 12. The simple statement is if weekly EMA 12 is holding, it's a potential bull flag. In the current dump right now, we are bouncing off weekly EMA 12. So if that were to be the fear low, we would trigger stops. We broke to the lowest price that we've seen in a couple of weeks, but no follow through if that's the low. If that is not the low, then that is a failed weekly bull flag and monthly consolidation will then be underway. So the response from here is going to be key over the next, I anticipate we're probably going to tighten up here. I mean, let's just visualize. Let's say we bounce another candle or two and then we pull back for 2-3 candles. We could be tightening up for another 2-3 hours. And so it's this evening that we're going to see a break of this. Likely, again, I'm anticipating we're going to see a tightening range. But then we're going to look for the break of that tightening range to give us information. Who did win that fight? Is it the bulls or the bears? Now that the bulls are ready to fight. So we'll keep an eye on this bounce as we continue to go through things. As far as the daily chart is concerned, at the moment, it's a support break with no follow through. You can see all these supports back here, 26.5, 26.6, 26.9, and we dip down into the support zone, and it is still holding. And far more often these days, I'm using zones as support and resistance because it's never, crystal clear, just one level. Sometimes it is, shouldn't say never, but it is often a zone that we watch for, and you can break one level, but you don't break the others. So I would call this initially a hold of the support zone for Bitcoin. We also had the CPI reaction. So the CPI reaction this morning came in at 4.9, which was a little bit better than expected. I believe 5% was expected. And so that's the bullish reaction that we had on the morning. And then the bearish reaction to this fear news. And again, even if it's what we look for now is did it actually happen? Because last time when it didn't actually happen, we did see a V-shaped recovery. So definitely going to be tuned in to finding out exactly what's going on. But it's looking like the coins have moved from one address to another at this point, but have not been sold. NASDAQ. So NASDAQ still holding well. We had a dip when Bitcoin dipped, and now we got a pretty strong bounce. And what we're watching on the NASDAQ, what the bulls need to be aware of, again, we're not positioned well in crypto if there's any broader market weakness. And the reason I can say that is because right now, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are at 8-month highs. They both hit 8-month highs today. And obviously, Bitcoin is not at 8-month highs. And so I'm watching for the possibility of, right now the NASDAQ bulls are in control, but I'm keeping an eye out for the potential of a daily rising wedge. So if this were to break bear, it would definitely lead to some downside, some further downside in crypto. So just something to be keeping an eye on. But for now, the NASDAQ bulls are holding on just fine. And it's led by our major tech names. Microsoft is up at the highest price in, however many months, 8 months, whatever. Apple's still up there. Amazon's trying to join strength. So NASDAQ's still holding on. The dollar is still sideways. If you're a crypto bull, you want to see the dollar break 178. If we are between the two levels that I have highlighted on this chart, nothing is happening. We have to break one of these two levels for there to be a significant change in what the dollar is doing. But the dollar has been trading within this range for 3 weeks. And so nothing is changing if we are still within this range. ETH had the bearish reaction as well. Again, support zone on the daily time frame. We broke one level, 1805. We held the second level of 1785. And ETH BTC, the only thing that I care about is the potential of the weekly falling wedge. And I'm watching for the possibility of a 3-month higher low. And Eric Crown recently made a post about this 3-month time frame on ETH BTC. But if we are going to set a 3-month higher low and tighten up for another year, we would need to see this weekly falling wedge break bull. So keeping an eye on that as a possibility. And essentially, it would mean that the dominance chart for Bitcoin would be rejecting from this long-term quadruple top yet again. If ETH BTC is going to break that falling wedge bullish, that means the dominance chart likely needs to drop down and break the recent weekly lows. But this is an important battleground to be watching on the dominance chart. Is Bitcoin going to give us the highest dominance that we've seen in 3 years? No, 2 years or not? That's the question that we're looking for over the next few weeks. And we can see on this dump, Bitcoin led the dump on the way down. That said, there's a lot of altcoins that are not looking too hot right now. There's a lot of altcoins that don't have much support aside from their recent fear lows. We'll look at those in just a moment. Pepe. So Pepe top is in. We know that much for now. But there's going to be a daily bounce and then a daily lower high at some point. So really aggressive bulls are hoping that daily EMA 12 continues to hold. We've been battling it for 2 days. We do have a double top at the high of yesterday. Bears defended that resistance, 12.85, 12.7. You can see on the 4-hour time frame, it aligned with 4-hour EMA 12 resistance. So if we're going to get any daily bounce going, we've got to break that double top. And then we would zoom out and look for a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. If you're looking bearish on Pepe, you're waiting for a daily lower high at this point. Otherwise, it's not good risk reward. If you're a patient bull, you're waiting for 4-hour oversold conditions, which technically would be a 4-hour back burner. First 4-hour oversold after a massive all-time high run. But only for those of you that love volatility and certainly need to be protective using stop losses as always. And Atom is standing out as a bull today. And you can see Atom stood out this morning, and now it's standing out on its bounce. We've seen almost, from when that fear started there, almost a 80% retracement on this bounce. So Atom is catching my eye for the possibility of a daily falling wedge. And again, I look for wedges when you get breaks with no follow through. So 1029 was support. Here's a bear break into a multiple day bounce. 1020 was support. And here's a bear break into a big daily bounce. So as soon as I see that kind of price action, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, I start scouting in the other direction. And crypto stocks, MARA, now Riot today, gave a good example of that. So look at Riot. High of the day is 1282. We break it right into consolidation. We break it by a penny right into consolidation. It's a rising wedge, and then the news, of course, helps. Quick touch on these stocks. These stocks are more bullish than Bitcoin. They've got earnings later today, but Riot broke its tightening daily range bullish, and MARA did as well. No follow through on MARA, but they both hit the highest level that we've seen in weeks. And obviously Bitcoin has not hit the highest level that we've seen in weeks. So keep an eye. We might get some information out of these miners' earnings reactions after hours. I don't think it'll be any significant information, but potentially worth keeping an eye on. So Atom, let's say I'm interested in this daily falling wedge. Can draw a downtrending resistance line as a guide. This is a longer term downtrending resistance. If I want the more recent price action, I would draw it like this, tighter. I could even zoom into the 12-hour and use the 12-hour as my guide for drawing this resistance. Just a little bit more detail. You can see that's where we rejected from. So I would be looking for, if I wanted a long entry for the potential of this falling wedge, I'd be watching for, with all this volatility, at this point, probably an hourly higher low. I would want to top out on the bounce, and I'd want to look for an hourly higher low. Falling wedges are tricky because oftentimes we break support with no follow through. So if I'm entering a falling wedge, I put my stop loss under the current low with a good bit of wiggle room, anticipating the potential that we're going to hit one more lower low, and I don't want to stop out on that lower low. Or I wait for a point where I say, that's either the lowest level we're going to see or I'm wrong. And so an aggressive bull on Atom could use the low of this flush, 1039, if they want a closer stop nearby. But I would say if we head down to one more lower low, that would be a bit of a red flag. Essentially, if this is going to be a falling wedge, bulls want to see Bitcoin break daily support with zero follow through and get back over 28,000. So if Atom were going to drop down and break to a lower low, that likely means Bitcoin is dropping down and more convincingly breaking 27,000. And again, that would be a red flag for bulls. So again, the weak coins, we know OMG is just the bearest of the bears out there. Fresh fear lows. But there's other names here that are close to fear lows. And I'm looking at Ape 261 is the fear low. That's still 20% plus away, but for Ape, 20% isn't a whole lot. You've got the metaverse names, Sand and Mana. They don't have a ton of support above these lows. You can see Sand here. We broke 50 cents, so just 37, the low. And where is Mana? Mana broke 48 cents, so just 28 cents the low. Essentially, what my point is if the crypto bulls are going to hold on here and salvage a long-term trend change and long-term follow-through for the bulls for the rest of the year, we pretty much have to see the broader market continue to grind higher. Because if the broader market sees any kind of fear from here, again, right now in this moment, today, we hit 8-month highs. And if we were to see any kind of, 3 weeks of consolidation or any kind of weakness in the broader market, that's going to put downward pressure on crypto and would likely have Bitcoin heading back towards the mid to lower 20,000s. And with where altcoins are positioned comparative to Bitcoin, if Bitcoin heads to the low 20,000s, a lot of these altcoins are going to be testing their fear lows. So the best case for the bulls is obviously just keep grinding higher. There's a ton of bears in this market, and every time we hit a higher high, some more bears get stopped out. But we haven't had a convincing new higher high in the NASDAQ and S&P 500 in the last month or so. So need to see another clear leg up to alleviate some of this fear. Checking back in on Bitcoin short term here, 15-minute. Still watching for the potential of the lower high, not set yet. And then we'll be watching for a 15-minute higher low. Comparing to the crypto stocks, same kind of 15-minute bounce right now. I played MARA's bounce before this live stream, but I was all out in the low 10s. I was real quick with those flips. All right, I'm reading the chat room now. Thanks everybody for the likes and the shares and all that stuff. Let's get those likes up to 100. Gonna do a live stream on Friday, Q&A, which is similar to what we're doing right now, but more so based on, everything to do with trading, psychology, experiences, favorite indicators, favorite setups, all that stuff. So Friday at noon, bring a beer. Is there a video source for information on how to set up my chart? There is. I don't have it handy. If you email info@chartguys.com, we'll send you a link where there's a video how to set up your charts like Dan. All right, scrolling back a bit. Looks like movement to me. Someone's saying that there was no government movement of coins. I see 269 million moving, but I'm open to being wrong. Glad to hear it, Afro Samurai. And yes, it is the U.S. government that we're talking about here. Sell in May and go away. So historically, we can look at certain months historically in the stock market and see the returns of those months. And there are some months that are generally more bullish and some months that are generally more bearish. I know that in my experience over the last 13 years of trading, that over the summer, there is definitely a lull in trading activity. People are outside more. I know I trade less. I take less trades in the summer. I'm out in my garden more. I'm watering the garden instead of trading sometimes. So if it happens for me, that means it happens for hundreds of thousands of other traders. So we see volume and volatility decline a bit, but all you got to do is look back. I mean, just go to the 1 month chart and look at the broader market, and you can just look back. Well, what has happened every May through July for the last 5 years? And I'm not going to do that right now, but the chart is right here giving you the information. And so you can look back and see, does that have weight to it or not? For me, it's just sticking with the uptrends. Right now, the NASDAQ bears are not proving anything to me on this uptrend, this bounce that we've been in for 5 months. And so if I'm going to see it be a sell in May and go away, I need to see weakness. I don't see any selling on this chart. I see us at 8-month highs. Start monthly consolidation, sure. People are selling in May. But until that happens, there's no sign of it on this chart. I'll go over SPY and QQQ at the end of the day market video in an hour and a half, as I always do. AMD is strong because of its earnings reaction a few days ago. If I were looking to establish a long position after a quick dump like this one, what indications would I look for to signal a temporary bottom is in stair-step patterns? Google TheChartGuys stair-step if you don't know what that is, but look at the 2-minute chart, and as soon as the stair-step pattern broke bull, that was it. That was the bulls regaining their senses after getting sucker punched, and we have not dropped lower. So whether it's a 2-minute stair-step, a 5-minute stair-step, I've made IRA entries for weekly stair steps that break bull. That then gives you a bottom to play off of. As soon as the stair step breaks bull, 26.8 is my stop. Because if that were to break, that's the bears continuing to keep their control in the downtrend. And I see your next question is, would I just treat it like a stair step? You're on the right track. Thanks, Crypto Chef. There's a lot of traders. There's a lot of professional. Someone says, I can't believe Dan's doing TA on Pepe. There's a lot of traders, professional traders, who have made their year trading Pepe over the last 2 weeks. I'm not one of them, as I don't have access to the places it's trading, nor do I want the access to the places that it's trading. But there are those that did. It's just, simple patterns. The back burners were working great on the way up. Look at his hourly RSI. Hourly RSI dips down to 32. It was front run a bit, but any bull looking for an entry in first hourly oversold conditions had the opportunity for 400% further upside. Then you had a 4-hour volume climax mark the top for the bears. It's responding well to technical analysis. So I know that there are pro traders that have made a killing. Trying to catch a falling knife with VGX, don't try and catch a falling knife. You have to have a stop level to play off of. If we are in free fall, especially, we got 14 cents as the all-time low. So looking like that's the only level right now to be going off of. So 14 cents key support, but it's absolute free fall, full bear control. The last thing you want to be doing is just scaling into a name that is in a downtrend on every single time frame. That is how we give away money. EXRD. I can't do technical analysis on this name because it has gaps on the daily time frame. I refuse. Technical analysis is not useful if something is illiquid enough to have gaps on the daily chart. Some exchanges are better. So it looks just like Bitcoin to me. The only difference is we had a bull break with 0 follow through. So bull break with no follow through, now bear break with no follow through. What pattern do we look for? Megaphone. So I'd be keeping an eye on this. And the burden is on the bulls to confirm an hourly uptrend from here if we're going to have any confidence that bulls can bounce off this downtrending support line. How many trades do I average in that time period compared to January through May? So can't do that because every year is so different. In 2022, my January to May had way more trades than this year. Or no, my 2021. Every year is different based on the market conditions. And that's what I talk about when I talk about pumping the gas and pumping the brakes. The amount of trades that I took in crypto in 2017 into 2018 will never be repeated again in my life because the opportunity in the market environment. So for me, it's not only a monthly seasonal kind of thing, it's definitely year to year. And we know that since the bear market started 14 months ago or however long ago, that there has been, in my opinion, less trading opportunity than in the years prior. So naturally, if there's less volatility and less opportunity, I want my trading activity to slow down. I do not want to be trading the same way in a consolidation environment as I was in a blue sky breakout euphoria environment. Binance broke the daily equilibrium bearish. We were watching that one for a while, and it got really nice follow through. Well, not really nice, but nice enough. And what I said was, if you're going to break one level, 320 was the bear signal, you've got to follow through and break them all as soon as possible. So we took out all 3 support levels, and now we're watching weekly support just under 300. Are we going to lose the weekly uptrend? If we hold it, we then have to be cautious of a weekly head and shoulders. But we're heading towards that 299.50 weekly support test. Glad the stair step is working for you, Chris. All right, ARB. Daily bounce is underway. Did we get to 4 hour? We got pretty beat up. We got to 12 hour oversold. Yes, we got all the way down. Daily kissed oversold. So it looks like that was a trigger for a bounce. Daily RSI got right down to 30, 31. And while it did that, a lot of other time frames were oversold. The 12 hour was in the low 20s. The 4 hour was in the teens. That's my kind of bounce trade when you have all these time frames aligning in extremes together. That's what we call the super stack. All right. Where's the opportunity today? The opportunity's gone for today. Now we're in constricting ranges. Bears had some nice pullback on the morning in stocks. Stocks are doing their best V-shape impression here. Hourly bounce underway. A lot of space for an hourly lower high, but that's a big old bounce. Why cover my face in video? Do you mean the hair on my face? It just grows there. All right, one more. 2 more. ICP and Doge. 81 likes. If we get to 100 likes, I'll do another one. ICP. So everything's going to be doing the same thing as Bitcoin, just in the sense that we're dumping and then bouncing. So if we want to compare, we look at retracement size. Some coins are going to be retracing more than 50%. They're stronger. Atom is a good example. Some coins are going to be retracing less than 50%. They are weaker. So I want to look at where were we pre-dump and where do we stand now. And we got a 50% bounce retracement. So that tells me to scout an equilibrium. We're scouting a 15-minute lower high, then we're going to scout a higher low, and then we're going to watch the direction that that tightening range breaks later this evening. And that's going to give us the next bit of information. We already have enough information that because we've seen a 50% bounce retracement, we can anticipate the most likely scenario is an equilibrium. Doge, same deal. Bounce is a little bit more significant, so it's a little bit on the stronger side. We've got a lot of space for a 15-minute higher low next consolidation. And the way this could potentially play out is, again, talking about all coins, the low, the high of the dump, 15-minute higher low, tightens up, and then if it breaks bull, that just means zoom out. Whenever an equilibrium breaks, zoom out. Because a 15-minute equilibrium could break bull, and then that just means scout an hourly lower high. And then we tighten up on the hourly, and we do it all over again. And that happens often. You just go from one time frame's equilibrium to a longer term time frame's equilibrium. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Some clowns in here. Crypto Jules, why did I cover my face? Who are you? Get out of my life. It's It's nice to be able to push a button and have someone be out of your life. Hide from channel. All right. 101 likes. Thanks, everybody. So again, you can all do the analysis that I've just done on your own individual coin. What's the bounce retracement? If it's over 50%, scout the 15-minute low or high, scout the 15-minute high or low, watch the direction that it breaks. As soon as the equilibrium breaks, we're anticipating the equilibrium's coming. As soon as it breaks, you zoom out to the hourly and watch to see if we're going to get an hourly tightening range or not. OP has been a lead bear, but I am watching for a shift, and I forget why. Why was I watching for an OP shift? I made a post about it. Need to go back in time and figure out what I was talking about. Not sure. Anyways, OP is looking for a monthly high or low. Big picture, that's the most likely scenario. A monthly high or low, that's a monthly equilibrium or tightening range setup. But we're looking for a monthly high or low compared to 123. There's a lot of space for it to form, but we're in a weekly and daily downtrend. I was probably just looking for a climax here. But what we need to see is the BTC pairing doing the exact same thing as the US dollar pairing on bounces. We have to see the spotlight if we're going to see relative weakness turn into relative strength. So if you are watching OP for a bounce, ensure that the BTC pairing is doing the same thing on trend changes. We need a 4-hour uptrend. The BTC pairing has to confirm a 4-hour uptrend at the same time as the US dollar pairing if it's going to be a shift from relative weakness into relative strength. All right, appreciate you all tuning in. I'll be back live Friday for a Q&A. And I love you.